Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. 3:30 a.m. here on the East Coast, Thursday morning, February 24th. A lot of you guys are going to be waking up to big news. That's why I repeated the time. I turn my phone on. I wake up pretty much every hour all through the night. Since I've been in recovery, my sleep never returned to normal. And I check the phone, I check the news sources, my computers, every hour throughout the night. And I woke up a little after midnight this morning, Thursday morning. And just 30 minutes earlier, Putin finally invaded the Ukraine. And not just those two eastern provinces, Donetsk and Luhansk. I hope I'm pronouncing them right. No, the entire country. Apparently, all the cities in Ukraine are being hit with missiles, bombs. There's bombs lighting up the sky. Kiev, I think, is the capital. There's blasts coming from all across the country. So Putin did it, invaded the country, and right up to that very last minute, we still had Laura Ingram. Had Donald Trump on the phone. I'll have that link down. I'll have a bunch of links down below. Tucker, one of the most offensive ones. Wait, before I get into that, let me give you guys a thought exercise. All right? Say that there is a real dangerous, evil criminal on the streets of America. Somebody like Charles Manson today. And he hasn't been caught yet. He's used other people to do his dirty work, and he hasn't been caught yet. But we know he's responsible for a lot of deaths. Okay. Let's say there's two different law enforcement officials talking about it. And one says, look, we got to do everything in our power to get this guy, even if we have to use how they got Capone with taxes, no matter if we have to use his finances, whatever we have to do, we have to stop this guy. He's evil and he's responsible for all this stuff. Okay, that's law enforcement official number one. Law enforcement official number two. It says, you know what? This guy's a genius. You gotta admire this guy because he's really suave and sophisticated and he's smart. And he's so smart. You know what? I would like to use his tactics against my enemies out there. To make people disappear like that. Wouldn't that be great? This guy's a genius. Imagine that. So now ask yourself: out of those two law enforcement officials, which one's being weaker on this criminal mastermind? It's pretty easy to figure, right up to the very last minute. Laura Ingram was interviewing Donald Trump as the Ukraine was being invaded last night. And Trump was on a rant about the election. Seriously. He connects the Ukraine. He says it makes him sick that the United States is so weak, and it's all because of the election. And Laura Ingram said it's all because of the people that wanted to boot Donald Trump out of office. That's why Russia's doing this right now. It's all because, of course, once again, the entire world revolves around Donald Trump. Let me point this out. The reason Putin is doing this now is because Biden was backing the Ukraine as an independent democracy. Backing them up against Russia, which worried Putin. Pretty much the opposite of what Donald Trump was doing. Right up to the very last minute, Laura Ingram's talking to Trump, and they're blaming it on the election and the southern border and inflation. Seriously, I'll have that link down below. While the Ukraine is being bombed last night, right when it started, Laura Ingram's on the phone with Trump, talking about the southern border and inflation. It's all because of that. That's why the Ukraine is being invaded right now. All right, and then one of the most appalling things, I'll put this link down below too, is again Tucker Carlson. He just outdoes himself every time. He asked a question about 2 nights ago, like, why do we hate Putin anyway? He started. He's like, is it Putin that's pushing CRT on our kids? There's a bunch of lies. One of the most disgusting one was about the pandemic. He asked, was it Putin that made us stay locked inside for the last 2 years in this manufactured, I don't even want to say it because I don't want to get flagged here. But is it Putin that was selling us fentanyl? And then to end this piece, he goes, the most disgusting thing, he goes, is it Putin that likes to eat dogs? Granted, I don't know what's true or not true. I know different countries have different customs and different traditions, and it's not up to me to say what's right and what's wrong. Something's been going on for hundreds of years. I'm not going to come along and say you got to stop doing that. That's in my eyes, that's wrong. It's appalling. If that is true, it's appalling. He's talking about China. So he's basically saying that Putin's a great guy. Why do we hate him anyway? And screw the Ukraine. This morning, as the sun comes, I think the sun was just coming up last night at midnight here. I think it was just getting light out there. I guess this first round of attacks is to take out the cell towers, the internet, what they call soften up the targets, the missile batteries, and then the real bloodshed begins when they send the troops in, the tanks in. Okay, so Putin says the reason he's going in is to denazify, denazification. I didn't know that was a word, but seriously, Putin said it was the demilitarization and denazification of the Ukraine. So this is his premise, that somehow the Ukraine is Nazified. I don't know if that has something to do with Joe Biden. It's an excuse to go in there. Right up to the last minute, all these you see the Republicans divided into two camps. The traditional Republicans, or the rhinos, as Trump likes to call them. Actually, remember the days of Reagan, when Reagan called Russia, what do you call it, the evil empire? And these people all loved Ronald Reagan, except now they all love Russia too. What is weaker on Russia? Biden in lockstep with the rest of the country, doing everything up at. That's another thing. When you take sanctions, you got to leave something open at the end. You can't go right to the top. You can't go right to the worst thing you can do to punish somebody. You have to leave room. You have to leave something worse that you can do. Because if you do everything, then where do you go from there? You can't use all of your sanctions. I mean, that's just common sense when you're dealing with people like this. You don't go right to the wall with sanctions when you're negotiating something like this, because that leaves you nowhere to go. You can't say, well, now if you do this, I'm going to take the next step, because you already took all the steps up to actually using the military, which is the least wanted thing. So so the Ukraine is being invaded by Putin this morning. As you guys wake up, I'll put all the links down below. It doesn't sound good for all of Europe, man. It sounds like it's not a good deal. And I'm just dying to see how, Trump's going to change his tune. I'm sure all of a sudden that Putin is a genius as the body count goes up in the Ukraine. I'll put all those links down below, especially about that one about the crematorium following the Russian troops. There's a picture of it in the articles that I was reading. The troops going up to the Ukrainian border, and this picture of a mobile crematorium on wheels, supposedly to hide any Russian casualties, to get rid of them, to vaporize them instantly. Seriously, I'll put the link down below. All right, it's going to be an interesting morning, an interesting day. You guys, I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a great Thursday.